Hey y'all! I did that for my southern friends. It's Sunday, and that means another Scrap Your Scraps video. And today, this video is called Cut That Out, because I'm using a technique that I will be dubbing Cut That Out. And I am using my lovely bin of scraps here for this layout, as well as this paper from the Studio Calico Galileo kit. I'm also going to be showing you how to use the same technique for a Project Life card, but that will come after I do this layout. So we'll start with this one and then I'll show you the same technique in a different way, because I like to show you multiple ways to use the same Scrap Your Scraps technique. So when I saw this paper, The Beginning, over at Studio Calico, a whole bunch of the design team members were doing layouts and they all looked really beautiful, but they all looked the same. And that was sort of driving me crazy. Not because they weren't doing beautiful pages, because they totally were, but because I don't want my layouts to look like anybody else's. I want them to be totally different. So I've been trying to brainstorm how I could make my layout using this The Beginning paper look completely different. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use it for a Scrap Your Scraps video. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I cut out all those letters and back them with scrap paper? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see if it works. And I love the way that it works. So my challenge for you this week for your Scrap Your Scraps is to grab a piece of paper like this that has a bold title on it or a bold design, and use a craft knife and cut it out. Like, cut out the letters using the craft knife and then use your scraps to back it. So I'm obviously not going to make you watch the whole thing, but there you go. I cut it all out. I cut out the word The Beginning using my craft knife. And then I'm going to go through my scrap bin and grab a whole bunch of different colored papers, ones that I felt would go with the photo. I wanted pinks and grays and light pastel-y types of colors, and so I just grabbed them all out. And I also wanted some mint in that like tealish color. And I'm just going to back all of those letters with it, and it creates such a fun design element. Plus, my layout's going to look so much different, that's not a word, so much more different than everybody else's page, because I've done something completely different. So while my photo needs to be in the same place on the page, because there's not a ton of there's not a ton of places that you could fit a photo on this layout. It's going to look different just in the nature that I cut out all the letters and back them, and it'll be different colors than just the white. And I love this technique. It's so much fun. And there's so many papers that have fun designs on them that maybe you don't like the color or something, and you could totally use your scraps for them and create like a really fun layout or design. So I'm super happy with the way that it works. So I was just going through all the papers trying to figure out which ones to put. Once I decided on the ones to fill up all the letters, I'm going to put away the other ones. And I'm basically just going to back the back of all of those letters. So I'm going to speed this up for you so you don't have to watch it for a super long time. First, I'm going to cut off the branding strip at the end, and then I'm going to use my hot glue gun and layer behind all of those letters. And it's super easy to do. I basically just stick glue around it, glue the paper down, and then trim off any excess. I wasn't worrying too much about making it perfect because it's scrap paper, right? So I'm not trying to save it necessarily. On some of them I tried to trim it down a little bit, and then I just glue it down, stick it down, cut off the excess. I use a couple sticks of glue here, and my glue gun makes it super easy for it to stick down and stay in place. And it's super fun. I love it. Like, I turned it over and looked at it and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted it to look like. And the B had the inside of the letter B, but I decided to just make it a big bold B like this, and you can still see what it says without the little circle parts for the things. But if you wanted to add those, you could glue those back in afterwards. Like for the ends, I was finding those little hanging off triangle pieces were making it harder to do the layout. So I ended up just trimming those off, and then later I go back and glue those on. So I just wanted to say, while I'm doing this, I am so enjoying this Scrap Your Scraps series that I'm doing. This is the 6th one, and each Sunday I've been posting a video where I inspire you to use your scraps in a fun and creative way, and I am having so much fun. I'm feeling like so inspired, and I'm actually like, these layouts that I've been using for my Scrap Your Scraps videos are like my favorite ones in a really long time. So thank you so much for enjoying me. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you're enjoying these Scrap Your Scrap videos. I think you are, because you guys are leaving awesome comments that just brighten my day and make me super happy. And I hope that I'm inspiring you. I mean, a couple of people have told me that they're using their scraps, so yay for you. And if you are, leave me a link down below in the comments, because I would love to check out your layout that you have used your scraps for, or that you've been inspired by me to use your scraps, because I want to see what you're coming up with, because you guys are super awesome and inspire me all the time. So leave me a comment or tell me if you're playing along, or if you're going to try one of the techniques that I've showed you in a Scrap Your Scraps video, because I would love to see it. And maybe I can give you a little shout out on my channel, because I would want to do that. And I hope you're having fun, and your scrap stash is getting a little bit smaller, not so overgrown with crazy papers. So, okay, now I'm going to add my photo, which, let me tell you, this is a photo of my mom and dad. It's so precious. This photo was taken at their wedding, like 30-something years ago. And this layout is going to go in my old family photos album, which is what I've been using those photos for a lot of my Scrap Your Scraps videos. And I wanted this layout to be at the very beginning, because it's the beginning of all of it. It's like, if it's like Tori the early years, the photo of my parents getting married is like the perfect way to start the layout. And they've been married for 30 years now. Their anniversary was in April, and they're so precious. And I just wanted to include that. So I decided to use some vellum and to use a tag. And I folded that vellum up a little bit to just create some extra dimension. And Missy, if you're watching, I totally learned that from you. You so inspired me, girl. And I know that Missy watches my Scrap Your Scrap videos, or she's left comments on some of them, which is so exciting to me because she's incredible. And I learned that folding the vellum, ripping the vellum technique from her, which I guess it's not really a technique, but it's something cool that she does. And then I will embellish the page, and I thought I wanted to use these Prima flowers, and I am going to use them. I'm going to use them 3 places on the page just to create a little extra dimension. And I am hopefully going to have some more Scrap Your Scraps videos coming up too. I have a whole bunch more ideas planned. I really just need to get around to making them and filming them and recording them and uploading them to YouTube. But I'm going to keep going because you guys seem to be enjoying this series. And if you have any ideas for Scrap Your Scrap videos, let me know. Leave me a comment because I'd love to hear them. Or if you want to see how I do something, or if you want a better explanation, tell me. Yeah, whatever. I want to help. So on the layout, or on the paper that came in the kit, there was a section that said the beginning, and then there was a tick box. And I didn't really like it, and it didn't really fit with the photo. So I'm looking for something to cover up that section. This one Project Life card said, "Let's make beautiful things together." Or let's make beautiful things together. And I thought that would be cute for this layout without the scissors, but just that phrase. So I'm going to use that, but I don't think it'll be big enough to cover that spot. So I am going to grab a tag and cover up that part on the layout with the tick boxes. Just looking for the right size. Those ones were too big. And then I finally found a small white one, which is the perfect size. And I decided to just grab this one 4x6 piece of paper that I got in the 4x6 paper pad and trim around it just to add a little extra something to that tag. And I'm going to punch the hole and then add the "Let's Make Beautiful Things" to that just as a little piece, and then staple that on and stick the tag down. And then I'll add some yellow twine to the tag just to help it stand out too. And that's it. It covers up that spot, and it also gives me a place to do some journaling about how this is my parents' wedding photo and when the date was taken and everything. And I love the way that this layout worked out. It's a super fun way to use your scraps, and I hope I've inspired you to cut stuff out of your papers or your designs and back it with some scraps. So that's pretty much the layout. I decided to add some Tim Holtz letters, word strip, phrase strips to the bottom, and they're all about lovey-dovey things like love with all your heart, fall in love, things like that. And that's sort of going to add some journaling, because I'm not going to have a ton of journaling on this page, because obviously I can't journal a ton because I wasn't there, but I just want to put those phrases on there, and then on the tag I'll journal like the date and who's there and that this is my parents' wedding day. And this is such a super fun layout. It's pretty simple looking, I think. Like, it's not overly chaotic, but it was super fun to make to back all of those. Now, like I said, I wanted to show you one more way to use this cut that out technique, and I decided to show you a Project Life way to apply that, so that if you're not a big scrapbooker, maybe you could do something in your Project Life where you're using up some of your scraps. So I grabbed this Project Life card that I got in my Studio Calico kit, and it's a pair of scissors, and I used my craft knife to cut out those scissors. So it was a little hard to cut because the Project Life card was thicker than the paper was, but if you push down hard enough you can get it eventually. And I just sort of popped that out. I will use my scissors to just, my scissors on this card of scissors, just to fix that up a little bit and just get any excess things that stuck out a little bit. So I cut out the scissors, and then I'm going to back them in the same way that I backed that scrapbook layout, but I'm just using it in a smaller space. So I could just back it with one entire color, but I decided to make it more of a rainbow of just different colors. So that's one idea. So if you were using that in the beginning paper, and I backed each letter with a different color. In this image, I sort of cut little pieces of scraps and just back it so that there's a different pattern behind it. So you could do either way. You could use different strips like this, or you could back it in one solid color, whatever sort of fits with your mood and theme. And it's sort of a fun way to apply it and to use up some of your scraps. And all I'm using is a little bit of hot glue and scraps. So it doesn't cost a lot, and it's easy, and it creates like a fun pattern. I'll hold it up for you in just a second to see. Now the back is all messy looking, so you could cover that up with another card, but I figure there will be another card on the other side of the Project Life thread, so you won't really necessarily see that. So anyways, I'll slow that down and hold that up for you. You can see that looks like a pair of scissors. Sort of fun. So I realized this is similar to last week's Scrap Your Scraps video where we were using negative space, but I thought it was a little different because I actually cut it out by hand. That way, if you didn't have a Cricut or a Silhouette or some way to cut it out with a digital template, you could just do it by hand. Anyways, I hope that I've inspired you to use up your scraps and to find a creative way to use them and to back your things. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye! See you next Sunday!